let's just take a look at our calendar for this week. And so today we're going to talk about mid-year revisioning, looking at our goals and our activities. And we have our very own special guest, Marc Fox from the Fox Group. Later today, Tanya is going to be teaching a command class on adding a local expert page to your website. So you will walk out of her class with that page built on your agent website. So that's a great class, and they're always very hands-on. They are recorded if you don't make it this afternoon, and you can find that on our YouTube page. On Wednesday, actually Tuesday, we don't have anything except, getting back to the basics, getting to work. There's always on KW Connect some of the Pivot Shift Ahead live streams that you can do, but otherwise, we realize it's time to get back to business fully. So on Wednesday, we're going to hear from Peter Clark, and he's going to talk to us about some of his techniques to win buyers and sellers and the conversations that he's been having that have been really successful. So that will be another great meeting on Wednesday. And then for our CE classes, for a little bit, we were doing them at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays, but now we are back to 12 o'clock. We had just adjusted it because of Bold. So moving forward, we'll still have the Wednesday 12 o'clock CE classes every Wednesday. This week's will be a good one with Richard Mario on an updated risk management class for COVID-19, kind of as things change, reopen. What does that look like now? And on Thursday morning, we're going to have something special at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10 in our parking lot. As inventory is kind of short, we're finding a lot of agents have been kind of asking about haves and wants. And it's a good reason to get together face-to-face, but safely. So in our parking lot, we're going to have a coffee hour. So if you want to stay near to your car, if you want to bring your own chair, if that's your comfort level, you can. Otherwise, we'll set up some chairs, 6 feet apart, and we'll have coffee and some donuts and pastries. But, again, everyone has different comfort levels if you want to bring your own. But it's not just about the haves and wants. It's a chance to see everyone's faces, a chance to catch up, and just to continue feeling connected. When we had our Red Day tailgate, we got a lot of good feedback that it was great to see each other even from the parking lot. So we figured, I know happy hours are sometimes hard timing wise for people, so let's just do a coffee, and that should be a great time. So please try to come, or at least stop by for a little bit and join us for some coffee and some treats. And if you have any needs that your buyers have, or you have something coming on the market soon that might be a hot ticket, be prepared to share that with everyone. So that is a look at this week. Thank you, Austin. So it would, we would be amiss to not speak about the events that happened over the weekend. And many of you probably saw, hopefully all of you saw Gary Keller's email to us last night, just making it very clear that, at Keller Williams, we stand with our Black community and we wholeheartedly support equality. And we realize that this is an emotional time, for some people, and it invoked different reactions in different people. But I'm going to turn it to Heather to talk a little bit more about, our policies and how we look at those things from our Keller Williams Portland Premier.
Sure. I wanted to take a second to reiterate everything that Gary Keller said in his email that went out to the entire company. This company was founded on relationship and love and respect, and that's the foundation of what we do here. So we're just reinforcing everything that Gary said in his email. We have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to discrimination in this market center. And so what that really looks like is it's not going to be a 3 strikes and you're out. It's going to be you're out. We are here to love and support and be a place of safety and support for our agents, no matter what ethnicity, religion, sexual preference, anything. We are here to just care about those people and support them in their businesses, and there won't be any discrimination. And we just wanted to take this opportunity to just follow up on what Gary said, because that's what Keller Williams is all about.
Thank you, Heather. And if you want to talk, if you have something related, obviously, to our office in any of these discrimination issues, please talk to Heather. But even if it's not related, if you just want somebody to talk with, any of us, but especially Heather, are always available to help you. We want to make sure everyone is moving forward and managing their emotions and feels confident talking about any issues or concerns they have inside or outside work. So if you didn't have a chance to read that letter from Gary Keller, he sent it, I believe, around 8 p.m. last night. Definitely worth reading. All right, and then before we get to Mark, let's just do one quick update. Wait, I'm sorry, I should have asked, does anyone have anything else they want to comment on as far as that? Okay, but feel free to, please know we are always here and to listen and support all of our agents. So before we get to Mark, let's talk a little bit about Red Day. So we extended our Red Day until the end of the month, last month for May. Tanya, do you want to give us an update?
Yes, our update is fantastic. So we had a total of online donations of $51.43. So we exceeded our goal of $5,000, but we also had 3 people send in either a check or a direct to the Oregon Food Bank and letting us know. So with the total of those, we have a total of $65.43 and 102 total donations. So great job, everybody. I think this was just amazing and fantastic.
Yes, good job, everyone. And then along that same note, we've really been focusing more on talking about KWPP Cares and what those contributions go towards. And we have some updates on that too, Heather.
Yeah, that was something that we were talking about with the ALC this whole year, is kind of what the KWPP Cares Fund does, and that we wanted to put more attention to it. And so that's something we've been doing behind the scenes with the ALC, and we wanted to share with you, just in the first 6 months of this year, our KWPP Cares Fund has increased by 37%. So that's pretty awesome, especially considering everything that's going on in the industry and in our world and everything right now. We are just delighted with that, because that gives us the opportunity to be there as a support for our agents. And that's going to be something we're going to be focusing on more as the second half of the year rolls through. And Robin Desendorf is going to take some time coming up here in June to talk to us more about what that looks like for our market center. So I'm super excited about that. And thank you so much to those of you who participate regularly in donating to KWPP Cares. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Heather. And thanks, Robin, for taking the lead on being the ambassador for that. So let's get to our bread and butter of today's call. We have Marc Fox on, and many of you know Marc Fox, and we have a lot of newer agents on the call. So Marc leads the Fox Real Estate Group. They are not only a top team at Keller Williams, but they're in the top 1% of real estate teams in the entire nation. So Marc has so many great things to share. So we're very thankful that he's joining us this morning. I heard a really good quote this morning that said, "People who want to win find a way to win in any environment." And that, I feel like that just is a perfect introduction to Marc, because him and his team have exemplified this and been working hard and doing a lot of activities right now. So Marc, take it away and share with us what you've been talking about with your team as far as the mid-year revisioning and all of that, please.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. I don't know about if I'm the bread and butter, but never been called that before. But hey, whatever. Let's get into some sales stuff here. So, yeah, I think here's what I'd say. First of all, it's good to see some faces not only on here but in the office. So if you are on this call and going wondering, should I get back in the office, or where are things at? How are things going? Like, it's safe, it's healthy, it's things have been organized very well, and it's great to see faces back in here. So even you, Tanya, it's great to see everybody. So here's what I'd say is, some of you guys may have heard of the 15th protocol, which is something that a lot of businesses implement, whether it's in the middle of a pandemic or not, just a normal business. And that's the 15th of the month, looking at where are we at based on the monthly goals, making revisions, tweaks, changes, what most often being more activity needed to still hit the goal at the end of the month, right? With having half of the month left. And so I think right now, what's really important for us is we're here at June 1st, right? Which is super exciting because Washington County is in phase 1, hooray. But we sit here mid-year, and we also look at this as we have 6 months that takes us till December 1st, right? So we have 6 months of writing business to get it closed in December, right? Unless you get that lucky cash buyer in December that can close quickly, right? That's what we have to be able to contribute to our 2020 sales and your business. So we have 6 months. So call this the mid-year checkpoint. Call this the midpoint protocol, whatever it is. I think it's important to always look at it that way, but it's even more important to look at it right now as we are in, coming out of this pandemic, and a lot of people are saying, what do we do? How do we do it? And, we can talk about that, or I can answer some questions of what we've been doing. But here's what I'd say is you've got to look at your business, right? And whether you've hit your goals or you're behind on your goals, like you need to modify something. Like literally something has to change, right? And I say that because you can either change your goals or change your activities, right? Either one of those. And it's okay if someone wants to soften up their goals and say, hey, it's been a crazy year. I'm just going to do a little bit less and I'm going to keep my activities the same. That's okay. But if you don't revise or look at your goals and your activities both right now, you're going to miss the boat, and you're going to wake up at the end of the year and obviously not be at your goals and wish you could go back to this point right now, June 1st, right, and revise them. So I think that's really important. Dwight asked me to kind of think about 3 things that I could mention. That would be one of them, right? Is June 1st, recast your vision for the last half of this year. So think about that. Number 2, I'd say this. I feel privileged and blessed to be part of Gary Keller's private mastermind. He's actually done them monthly now, Zoom-wise, which has been phenomenal. But the last one he basically said this. He said, you guys, this pandemic, and through this pandemic, your whole business has been exposed. You're getting exposed. And what he said by that, and continuing to talk about it, he said, like, your commitment, like your motivation is getting exposed, right? Your habits are getting exposed. Your vision for big goals possibly is getting exposed. Your lead generation consistency is getting exposed. And he went on and on. Like he specifically said, our habits, good or bad, are catching up with us. So just think about that, right? We talk about the delayed gratification. We talk about the 30 to 90 day cycle in real estate. Right now, you're probably feeling what happened 30, 60, 90 days ago. So I think that was something for us all to think about our business, like what's showing up right now, right? And what can I get back on track? It's never too late to restart and recommit to an activity or a goal or a process, whatever it is for you. So I think that was interesting. And what he said with this as well is when he said your habits are catching up with you, he said this, and this really stuck with me. He said, discipline is more important than motivation. And that one really stuck with me, right? Because we sit here and go, we got to be motivated. We're sales. We got to be rah. We can be super excited and motivated, you guys, but if we're not disciplined, the results you want will not show up. And this is him talking to, the big teams across the country. So that really stuck with me, is discipline's more important than motivation. Because the discipline in those habits and the activities that will lead to your business being where it wants, that's the work, that's not the fun. But that's why it takes discipline. The motivation can come from some of the fun stuff, showing houses and going on appointments and meeting people and open houses, right? So think about that. What is your level of discipline, and how does that line up with your goals? I think that's important. That was number 2. Number 3, I think was a really important one from standpoint of, we talk a lot about buyers and sellers being on the fence, right? Like, hey, they're on the fence. Like, what are they going to do? What decisions are they going to make? What information do I need to get to them to help them better understand how to move forward, right? To literally get off the fence one way. Like, do you want to buy something this year or not? Do you want to list your house in the next 6 months or not? And when people have enough information, they'll make a decision, right? So we talk about that a lot with clients, buyers and sellers. But some conversation that came up I thought was really interesting is, you guys, agents are on the fence right now. So many agents are out there going, what the heck's going on? Coming out of this pandemic, like, I don't know what to do. Should I do open houses right now that we can do them? What activities should I do? And there's a lot of people still kind of held up, right? And I'll use the fence analogy. Like, do you want to move forward in prosperity, right? Or do you want to kind of fall aside and possibly have terrible things happen to your business? And that's not to be like gloom and doom about that, but like literally there's a lot of people on the fence. So where are you? Are you moving forward in activities and back to normal and getting more aggressive, or maybe doubling down on your lead generation activity? Or are you sitting on the fence? And I say this is really important when we talk about where agents are at, not only where we're at, but think about this, you guys. Most agents out there are on the fence. So they're going to make a decision at some point in time. So what I encourage everybody to do is like beat them to the market, right? We talk about this built up, pent up demand from buyers and sellers that's out there. It's happening. It's taking place. It's going to be more so, I believe, in the next month. But think about this. Are you beating them to market? Like, are you going to sit there on the fence with them? Right? Because if we beat them to market, the opportunities become better, right? There's less agents to compete against and with for the business that you want. So just really, really think about that. Like, what are you doing? And that's just making a decision and committing, right? And we can sit there and say, yeah, take that back to the discipline and habits and activities. But I would just ask yourself that is like, where am I at? Am I still on the fence about some things, and why? And if it's health or safety and you have underlying health conditions, or there's very valid reasons, they're not pushing that. But if you're comfortable with something, you guys, there's massive activity taking place. Chris walked in this morning, literally, as I was prepping this call. He goes, oh my gosh, I had an open house this weekend. It was crazy. Right? I just heard that like 20 minutes ago. So if you don't know that's taking place, it is. So think about that. Like, beat them to the market. When we talk about buyer consults, when we talk about open houses, showing homes, here's the deal. Like, this is not the time to say to somebody that inquires about a property to maybe show them or not. Or this isn't the time to say, well, go get pre-qualified first and then I'll talk to you. And believe me, if you're busy and you have more business than you can handle and you don't want to work another hour, then do it. It's probably not the case. This is the time when you just go meet them in a safe, healthy way. Go meet them, get in front of them, because if not, they're going to go meet somebody else when these other agents start jumping off the fence. And so we've got to get out there. It's kind of the wake up call. I'd say it's go time. It's the wake up call. Gary Keller, and I'll finish with this or answer any questions, but Gary Keller had another quote, and I love this. I've never even heard this one before, and I'm sure it's not the first time it was said. He basically said, ask yourself this: are you outworking the potential you were born with? Like, wow, that's pretty deep, right? Are you outworking? Doesn't matter what you're doing, what your role is. Are you outworking the potential you were born with? Because if not, like, what are you letting go to waste? That's what I got.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
I always appreciate it. And I mean, your takeaways are great, right? Other agents are sitting around, and it's been great to see you and your team in here working hard, and right, everyone's being safe, masks and distance and in the meeting rooms and things like that. But it's been really great to see the energy of your team throughout this. And oh yeah, look at Peter Clark modeling his lovely mask.
For Mark, go Beavs.
Go Beavs. Go Beavs. I like that. I need one of those.
Mark,
and that's great. Oh, go ahead, Dwight. I was going to say, anyone have questions for Mark?
well, yeah, so I was just going to ask, you mentioned, if we have enough information, then people will make a decision, right? And so when you have homeowners today that are hesitating, do you have any particular tactics that you guys are using to get them motivated to get their homes on the market? Any conversation points, any mail outs, any drip campaigns? What are you guys doing?
Well, I mean, if these are people you can have conversations with, then literally just have a conversation. Nothing better than that. But it all comes down to the questions we're asking, right? And this is sales in general. Just to go back to basics again. Like I said, when everybody has enough information, they'll make a decision. It's either to move forward or not. But usually when someone's sitting on the sidelines, determining what to do or deciding what to do, like, it's because they just don't have enough information. So they're not going to just give us all this information, guys. There's a lot of stuff in their minds right now, right? Especially with the pandemic going, coming out of that and everything they're dealing with. So we've got to ask questions. We've got to make sure that they understand. We got to normalize stuff. We have to help them understand there's a lot of activity taking place. We got to understand why it's such a phenomenal time to sell. You guys, I think it was last week or two, the stats came out for the nation. It's the historical low inventory. This is nationwide. historical low inventory, while rates are almost at historical lows. Like it's a crazy almost seller's market, buyer's market at the same time. That sounds really, really weird. It's such a phenomenal time to buy with purchase power. It's such an amazing time to sell because inventory is so low. So if someone wants to sell, if all those questions are answered, like, why would you not now? The demand is super, super high. Does that seller want to wait for all the other sellers to get off the fence and have more competition when there's 3 other signs in their neighborhood, or they want to beat them to the market and sell? I don't know if that answers your questions, Dwight, but asking a ton of questions. There's a reason why they're sitting on the sideline.
So if you guys have conversations with owners that you're hoping that will list their homes and they decide not to list, what are you doing as a team to follow up with them? Do you have a particular strategy around that in terms of campaigns, calls, mailers, whatever?
Well, I think it depends on the time frame, right? If it's 3 months or 6 months or a year. I mean, we have drip campaigns for long-term touches, if that's a watch or maybe something that's lukewarm. If anything's, here's what I'd say. If anything's under 6 months, I'd have it in a file, like literally a manila folder. I'd have one of these with their name and their info on it, right? With time frames and detailed information about your last conversation. So when you talk to them again, they will remember you. You can bring up that information very, very quickly and not have it be like that first conversation you had trying to break through to them as a realtor when maybe other people are talking to them too. You guys just manage stuff closer. This is not the time to have stuff on autopilot. And maybe that's your question about drip campaigns. Like, this is the time to take the wheel, using that analogy, and like make stuff happen.
Perfect. Hey, how many open houses did you guys have this weekend?
I think in Portland we only had 3, and I've only heard on that one so far.
Peter said he had 2.
How about other people? Yeah.
How'd they go?
Traffic was somewhat limited. I mean, I didn't do it. Nikki did, but the people that she spoke with were unfortunately mostly represented, but they were serious. There weren't few lucky loos, and the people that had come as a result of the advertising to see that specific property. So you can't ask for a lot more than that.
And I know Chantel had a lot of her agents in productivity coaching do open houses that had good traffic, right, Chantel?
Yeah, I had one in Summerfield, and I had 4 groups come through. All were very serious. I did go put the signage up that Mike suggested, please ring doorbell and wait for an agent, thanks. And then the face masks preferred, please use sanitizer upon entry, and thanks for understanding, stay safe and healthy. That were my signage, and it really worked well. And I let in only 1 group at a time. People were willing to wait. I had chairs outside and for them to sit in.
Great. Go ahead. That sounds awesome, Robin. Go ahead, Chantel.
I just had a few people do them, but it seemed like there were probably 3 to 5 groups on average that came through, and Nick Louie got a really good lead out of it. I actually start that open house program that I had going again. So if anybody wants to participate in giving us listings to put in it, or wants me to feed that out to them, let me know. I'm working on that this morning.
Thank you, Chantel. Yes, that is great. I mean, and it just shows what Mark's saying is that people are out, and how, there's buyers out looking, sellers are having open houses again. So you don't want to be stuck on the fence. And then one other thing that Mark conveys that is so important is, does he seem to waver about if it's a good time to buy or sell? Like, not at all, right? That conviction is so important. And it ties right in with what Peter and Dwight were showing us with all the numbers, right? If you need those numbers and the stats to have that confidence and that conviction, then show those. But you have to be that voice for your buyers of really believing why it's a great time.
Yeah, I think with that, Brenda, is you guys, stories and statistics and graphs and charts and things are more believable to people. So as you hear a story on this call, like, everybody should put that in their pocket and utilize that and can regurgitate it to a client later. Whether it be Robin talking about open houses or multiple offer situations or whatever. there's always two sides of the coin, right? You be prepared to explain why it's a great time to buy. And here's the deal: unless if you want to sell a house in the next year, for sure, maybe not the best time to buy. You want to hold it longer than that, it's a phenomenal time to buy. Like, purchase power is crazy right now. And if you want to sell, you have to be able to explain that too, and why that's, why it's such a great time to sell. So definitely be prepared for those. But get out there, you guys. Don't wait for everybody to say for 3 weeks in a row, open house activity is good, open house activity is good, and then go. You're going to be 3 weeks behind. That's like riding the wave, right? If the wave passes and you're surfing, not that I'm a surfer, but if your wave passes and you're surfing, like, you're sitting out there at the ocean waiting for the next one. Like get ahead of that. Start paddling now, right? And because the wave is coming. Like, let's ride it.
I think in going back to the people that you had as sellers that changed their mind, went off the market, or decided to hold off, now's a good time to go back to them and ask them, why did you want to sell in the first place? And does that situation still apply? Because maybe they just held off because of COVID and that was the only reason, but whatever the reason to list and sell is still sitting there, then show them the numbers and show them there's no better time than right now.
The only thing I can guarantee in life is that interest rates and prices are going to go up.
Hey, Mark, you make a really good point about waves. Having been through all these cycles, economic cycles for 40 years, there is one thing that is very clear that happens, and that is, as the market slows down and transaction count goes down, it starts to feel like you're in waves of activity. You might have 30 days or 60 days where very little is happening, and then for some reason, it explodes. And unlike the market that we might have had 16 or 17, where we had new low rates and we had massive inventory and everyone was as busy as they wanted to be, it's not behaving that way, and it won't for the next year. And so when we have conditions like this where we have such low inventory, the market is going to feel like it's going in waves. And if you don't have buyers that you're working with, if you don't have listings on the market, you're going to not even recognize the waves. We can see the waves if we have listings, because we can tell by the calls and the views on social media and whatnot. You can see it pick up, and then you can see it ebb. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree. I mean, this is momentum. Talking about that, like, this is when you should already have momentum right now. But if you don't, start creating it. Right? I mean, we were talking on our team. We've been talking about momentum for the last 2 months, knowing this was coming. Like, how do we build enough momentum, do the right activities, so that we have momentum built already when this happens? But if you don't, again, it's never too late to start that. Just get out doing your activities, do it in a safe, healthy way. The more touches you have, the more interactions you have, the more you put yourself out there. It's almost like in the past it was you get 1 times return. I think you're going to get 3 to 4 times the return right now for all your efforts. So as we look at the last half of the year, right, and recast that vision, like do it now.
Thank you, Mark. So good, right? There's opportunities out there, and what market share are you going to take, right, during this time? Really good to think at. Does anyone else have any questions for Mark? All right, Mark, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and wisdom with us. We are blessed to have you, and we appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all you do as well. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Let's turn it over. So, Mark hit on 2 things, right? You have to either adjust your goals or adjust your activities. And this is a really good mid-year time to just kind of give ourselves that gut check to recalibrate of where you are going to make those adjustments in your business. So Tanya is going to talk a little bit more about that, how we can assess those and track those, and just look at all the information and hold ourselves accountable for the next 6 months.
That's right. And there's one place where everybody can do it, and that's Command. I'm sure you're all sick of me hearing that, saying that, but it's true. So in Command, if you have already created your goals, then now's the time to go back and look at them again, see where you're at, because like Mark said, we have 6 months left. The latest time you can do a transaction is just about Thanksgiving time to close this year. So you have 6 months of business. look at your goals in command, reevaluate, see if they still, if you want to keep them where they're at, and if not, we can go in and we can change them. And every day that you log into command, you can see where you're at. So I'm going to go in real quick. Oh, no. Austin, you got to allow me to share.
I think he stepped away.
What's going on?
Zoom changed their rules, so you have to allow to share every time.
Let's see.
Just go to share screen.
There we go. Let's try that.
There we go. Okay, so into command we go. And on your home page, you will see your goals right here in the center of your page, unless you've adjusted your home page and you've moved them around. I've stressed that the importance is to have your task at the top, of course, and then your goals at next, but maybe you want to switch that around since we only have 6 months left. And a lot of people may or may not have lost the last 2 to 3 months worth of business. So your goals might be down a little bit and you want to adjust those. And the best place to go do that is in reports and your goals. And you can just look at your goals and it'll tell you where you're at, as long as you're tracking correctly with opportunities. And as I always say, opportunities does not start with a pending transaction. It starts from the very minute you meet them and know that they're either a buyer or a seller, and you enter the dates and the times for every single thing that you do, and you'll see a change in your appointments and your agreements and your under contracts and your closed units. You just come in and you go to goal settings to change your goal if you need to change it. As Gary says, you keep your goal where it's at and you might exceed or surpass it. If you lower your goal, then you might not work as hard because your goal isn't as high to achieve. So maybe you might want to just keep your goal where it's at right now and put in that extra time if you've cut back a little bit due to COVID-19, or if you want to just push even harder to make it a good year for you. If it's unachievable and just way too high, then maybe step it back just a little bit and do your hardest to reach those. This goal tracker right here shows you the year. You can change it out month by month so that you can see where you're at monthly. And then you can take your monthly and you can break that down with your 411 and take it into a weekly report. That is not on command, but it is a sheet that is available in Connect, or you can ask me and I'll send you a copy of it. Basically, you're just taking your monthly activities and you're taking it down and dividing it by 4. Pretty easy to do. Set up what you need to do for the month to reach your yearly goal. And this is like the easiest thing to do. It takes 5 minutes. I've done it with many agents already. We've done classes on it. And it's the best way to track your business, track the way you do your activities, which activities is actually bringing you business. Your conversion ratios will show up in here. And again, that you have to do inside of opportunities, and within the opportunity, you have to go in to make adjustments to the actual contact details right here. You need to plug in when the close date is. You need to plug in the date you schedule an appointment, the date the appointment is actually scheduled for, the day they sign a listing agreement or a buyer broker agreement with you, the date that they go pending, and the day they close. You also want to make sure you put in your listing price and your commission rate that you're going to get on that transaction. So if it's a buyer, it's average 2.5% commission. You'd enter that rate in there. If it's a listing, maybe you might want to put in 3.5 or 3%, depending on where it's at. Figure an average commission rate, and then having those numbers in there will help provide your actual monthly projections. There we go. Over here with your potential and your probable income. And then it also shows you on your graph of where you're going to go and what months you might be down a little bit and what months your activities are going up. So then you can fill in those gaps and see where you need to go. if you finish out this year doing your goals and doing your activities and setting your opportunities and doing those dates and times, by the end of the year, you'll have 6 to 7 months worth of activity to help you with your conversion rate, what your business looks like, where you're going to be at financially. And there's no better time to do it than right now.
Thank you, Tanya. And yeah, the most important part of that is just really looking at it and thinking about, okay, say you're going to get your business from open houses. Well, how many do you have to do, and what do you have to step it up to do right now to get the results that you want? And, you know, Command is a great place to track it, but you really have to be looking at it and thinking about it of where you're going to make adjustments. So,
yeah. And it's more than just going, well, I want to close 20 transactions. Well, what does that actually mean? How much money from each transaction does it take to get you where you want financially? You could ask someone, what do you want? What's your goal for the year? They'll either say, I want to close 20, or they'll say, I want to make 100,000 or more, right? 200,000, 300,000, whatever it is. Well, what is that number to get you to that? What does that actually mean for you? So it goes back to how much money do you want to put in your pocket at the end of the year? And then we can work that number backwards and figure out how many transactions you need to make, how many contacts you need to have. And then that gives you a better picture of where you need to be.
So good. Thank you, Tanya. And yeah, meet with Tanya and talk that out. If you need help running your numbers, but I think it's a really good, Chantel's agents and productivity coaching are such a good example of, they're out right now doing open houses, hustling hard for business. And it's great to see all of our agents successful, but even some of these newer agents are able to be successful right now because they're working hard and doing the activities. So that's always great to hear. And speaking of that, actually, Jake Coleman and Jeff Brown are both on this call. So welcome, you guys. They are new agents here. Jeff is going to Chantel's program, and Jake is going to be doing some commercial. And then we also have Josh Sanders on the call, who is getting licensed this month and will be going into Chantel's program. So welcome, all three of you. Thank you for joining the calls to get to know everyone, since it's a little bit different not getting to know everyone in the office. But that being said, it has been great to see so many faces. Oh, there's your face, Josh. I love it. It's been so great to see all the faces of people coming into the office. It's really nice to see people, and you know, we're being very safe around here. Everyone's, you know, staying 6 feet apart and wearing masks in common areas, but it's been really nice to see people's faces and just have that sense of community. Oh, look at you guys. I love it. See, Jake, Josh, that's what they look like. So when you guys actually come in, we can all say hi. So welcome. But yeah, Chantel, do you want to speak any more about your programs and like why you think your agents have been so successful as far as their activities?
I have to keep unmuting. I think just because they're working really hard, they're getting out and getting in front of people. That's what you do in an open house, is get in front of people. And that's what it takes to get clients. So I think the harder you work, the more you get. Connie's a great example of that. Robert Thompson is a great example of that. You are a great example of that.
Thank you, Chantel. I love that. I used to always, what was that old saying? The harder you work, the luckier you get too, right? You know, like all those people you see, and the more people you're touching. And I love that you said that there's no like magic trick, right? It's just the basics right now. Talking to people, engaging with people, you know, and readjusting how many people you're going to have to get in front of right now. But it's really motivating once you start seeing some of the stats and the numbers of the lockbox activity, and you see how other people are having open houses. That's really motivating. But like Mark said, you got to have that discipline too. So,
yeah. Corinne, this is Rob.
Yeah.
So, you know, I love open houses and I do them every weekend and have for years and years. So if the newbies even want to get another perspective than Chantel's, which is yours is great, I'd be happy to share. And if they even want to shadow me, they can do that too, to see what I do. Okay?
Amazing. Thank you,
Okay.
Robin. No, that is so great because, so many people have different styles in real estate. There's no one right way to do things. So, Chantel, keep that in mind for your agents if they want to shadow someone.
Sure. I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
Robin, is Robin talking about KWPP Cares today?
Not today, unless you want to, Robin. We didn't have that planned.
Hey, Corinne, are we going to do the Keller Mortgage next soon or?
On Wednesday. You're up on Wednesday.
Okay.
For the whole episode.
Before the next open house.
Yes.
Opportunity.
Yes. So it'll be great to hear from you about the specific conversations that you've had. Tell everyone really quick, Peter, as a teaser, how many open houses have you done in the last year and how much business have you got out of it yourself?
Well, I've done 2 open houses in the last decade, but I think out of those 2 open houses, we booked about 1.8 million in volume. And Keller Mortgage was the thing that stopped the buyers from walking out the door at the open house and gave me the opportunity to convert them. And so I would like to, on Wednesday, spend some time with everyone showing you how to dramatically increase your conversion rate for buyers and sellers, discussing the advantages of Keller Mortgage. And they are significant. And if you think that it's just no loan fees and $1,000 to the buyer, you're missing at least 50% of the value, maybe more. And so I'm going to talk about how you can tell your buyers and sellers that for the first time in history, Keller Mortgage will allow them to sleep at night throughout the entire transaction. That's it.
Thank you, Peter. Yes, that should be a good class on Wednesday.
I want to just take a minute because that just made me think of something. Last week, one of our agents in our office had asked about the app and what use was it best for, a buyer or a seller. Well, that made me sit down and go over more than that, thinking that this person, and maybe not just this person, but many of our agents in our office have no idea the value of our website and our app. So I went through and just hit everything that we have and did a list of what you can and can't do with, what you can do with our app and our website, just hands down. What can you do? So I'm going to read those really fast to you guys. Number 1, you have a customizable buyer and seller guide that are interactive for the buyer and seller. Buyers, of course, can look for homes for sale, and sellers can look at the neighborhoods and see what the market trends are. Number 3, they can apply for a mortgage or refinance with Keller Mortgage. They can check on their insurance through Keller Covered. Buyers can check out schools, walkability score, see how far it is to travel to work, daycare, schools, etc. They can favorite the homes that they like, and the agent can see which ones they are. The agent can do a save search for them in Command, and the buyers see it when they log in. Not only do the buyers see it, but they can actually collaborate with each other and share their favorite folders, husband, wife, mother, daughter, whatever it is. And they can leave notes with each other regarding those homes. The agent can see which homes have been favorited, which homes have been viewed, and how many times they've looked at them. The agents are notified when they log into the app and on the website. And there's a mortgage calculator for them. That's just 10. I know there's more. I haven't gone through all of it, but that's quite a bit. And to have that for us as part of our technology fee for only $25, why are you not taking advantage of it? And if you are, yay, I am so happy. If you want to know more, just watch for classes or come talk to me.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, that integration is why Gary Keller has dumped so much money into our technology, right? So everything can be our own data and talk to each other. So that's amazing. Tanya, if people want to set up the buyer and seller guides in the app, where do they go to do that?
Commands. Everything's in commands. Yeah, and it's really, really easy. There's a step-by-step guide that you just set up. You have to start it with the Kelly guide first, and then you actually go to the guide and you can go in deeper and do, if you just go to your app or go to on the website, you actually have to log in as a consumer to see the guide. So if you create a fake account with your, with your personal email, you can actually go and see what your consumer is seeing and doing, and you can actually walk through it yourself. But there's actually not just this little tiny blurb, but then there's full detail, and I can show you guys really fast if you want me to. A full detail, and it's fully customizable so that you can make this your own. Let me find my, sorry, the sharing screen thing keeps popping down. Into the guide itself right here, as a pre-approved, they can click on this. They can either say they have it, they can mark that they've completed this step and go to the next step. But all of this right here is actually customizable. It's not as you go through the Kelly guide to create the guides, but it's afterwards when you go to your guide. You can change the pictures, you can change the order that these are, and you can change the heading and this little tiny blurb. But as they click on each one, there's more information. And this information is fantastic to use as is, unless you want to add it and customize it and make it your own.
So good. Thank you, Tanya. And Robin had asked that maybe we can get a list of all of the pros of the app. So maybe you could type that up and post it in the Facebook group, all those things you just mentioned. And then, once it's branded to you, sharing your app, it's going to be branded to you. So there's a campaign already created in Command, a template to share your app. So if you have not set up your app, branded it to you, and started sharing it, you're really missing out, because the app is really incredible as it is, and then add on that it talks and integrates directly with Command. So if you need help, as always, reach out to Tanya, and she will help you out. But the app is such a great component of everything in our cloud and Command. So does anybody have any last questions or comments on anything that we talked about today? I know we kind of talked about a lot of different things. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday with Peter, and then Thursday morning in real life for that parking lot coffee. So please plan on coming to that. It will be great and energizing to see everyone's face in person for those of you who have not been coming in. So everyone have a great day. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.